All right. So, oh man, what a riveting, exciting start to this video with me yawning. Um, I am going to quickly go over some, review sheet stuff. I actually don't have the exact review sheet. I used to be able to connect to the school and get to all of my papers from home, but the school, in its infinite wisdom, decided to remove that ability. So if I forget to email new stuff to myself before I leave the building, modified worksheets and things like that, well, then I just don't have them. So that's always good. It's always good having a downgrade in technology. So let me type in a title. There we go. So now this video has an appropriate title, and we could get started on all this test stuff. So most of this stuff is the same. There's some slight differences from your review sheets, I'm sure, but well, at least we'll be going over the general concepts and some very important specifics. Be able to list the levels of organization in order from smallest or simplest to largest and most complex. So with this, the most important thing, I don't think that everybody has to know all the levels. I think depending on if you're academic honors or standard, I think that changes things up a little bit. You definitely want to know the AMOC portion. Atoms become molecules, become organelles, become cells. Definitely want to know that part. You want to know that smaller components can become bigger components when they're all put together. And it occurs to me now that I should check and make sure my volume is working. That would be bad if I do this whole thing and my volume's not working, which has happened. I have done streams and had the volume not working.
That would be bad if I do
give me
this
half
whole
a
thing
second. I'm
and my
trying to
volume's
grab
not
my
working.
headphones here. Come here, headphones. All right, I don't hear anything because I'm muted. Headphones. There we go. Okay, it's streaming. Cool, we're good. So yeah, you want to know cells are the smallest possible living thing. An organelle cannot be considered a living thing. A molecule cannot be considered a living thing. And an atom cannot be considered a living thing. But a cell can be. So that's an important thing to know. And then the idea of hierarchy of organization, which is that whole small components can combine and become bigger components. Next, homeostasis. Homeostasis, super important for everybody. The idea that you can balance your internal conditions. For instance, your temperature. Your temperature usually stays around 98 degrees. I think one great example of a body system maintaining an internal condition, because that's an important question to know, I like to think a circulatory system. Blood. Blood carries oxygen to all of your cells, and that keeps the oxygen levels in all of your cells balanced. If you didn't have enough oxygen, you would not be able to perform a little task called respiration. And then you wouldn't have enough energy, and you'd be in big trouble. You might also have to know that multiple body systems can work together. So the lungs can pull in the oxygen and then supply that to the bloodstream, so the cardiovascular and respiratory systems can work together. And Oh, I was about to sneeze. I knew that was coming. Let's see. Response and stimulus, before I skip past those. Response is a reaction. It's what you do when you see some type of information in the environment. So a saber-toothed tiger runs at you. It looks like it's going to kill you. Maybe you duck. Maybe you grab a weapon. Point being, the stimulus, the information in the environment is your tigers coming at you. And then obviously everybody knows what response is. That's just what you do. That's the action you take as a result of seeing that stimulus, that information. But sometimes it's automatic. So for example, if, let's see, what's a good example? If temperature increases, is it increase? No, decreases I wanted to do. So if temperature decreases, that cold feeling, that information, gets sent to your body, and then the body has an automatic homeostatic response to start getting goosebumps and stuff. So that helps you hold more heat. Or you start shivering, and that'll help you hold more heat. So your response can also help you maintain homeostasis, and your response is triggered by the stimulus. So they're all related to one another. Body system. We could ignore this first one. It's the nervous system, but you don't have to know that specifically. In the pupil lab, okay. So pupil, your pupil responded to light. Light was the independent variable. It was the thing that we changed. Depending on the light, your pupil changed, pupil size. So that was your dependent variable. Control group was your eye pupil, your pupil in normal light, and your experimental group is whoever had the light shined in their eye at the time. For your heart rate lab, exercise is what you changed. So exercise is your independent variable. Dependent variable was your heart rate. Depending on exercise, your heart rate changes. Control group, the resting heart rate group, and experimental group was the exercising group. Let's see. Yeah, so that covers that. Example of homeostasis. You exercise, your heart rate speeds up. You stop exercising, and your heart rate slowed down. So you had an example of negative feedback there. And it also made sure that because your blood pumps faster, because your muscles need more energy and oxygen, they need to perform respiration more. So by your heart pumping faster, it means you circulate more and more blood. So that is what it maintains your oxygen levels in all the muscles and cells throughout your body. So that's an example of homeostasis from that lab. Feedback mechanisms. This is how you maintain homeostasis. Your body will either detect that it's overworked and it'll do negative feedback, which will slow a process down, or it'll do positive feedback. It'll detect that, hey, you're not working hard enough, or hey, you need more of some type of chemical, or maybe you need more energy. And so it'll cause a process to happen more, or it'll start a process if you need it to start. Ignore this. The difference between somatic and autonomic, you could ignore that. We're not going to worry about that. Basically, it just means body cells versus... somatic. Yeah. Body cells versus your non-normal body cells. So like your sex cells and whatnot. Next. Draw an energy diagram. Okay, we're just going to look right here at this energy diagram. Bam! Okay, energy diagrams. This is a measure of how much energy you have. And not every class is doing energy diagrams, by the way. So if you don't have them on your review sheet, then don't worry about them. Wait a minute. something. I knew I had something off in my head before. Somatic. Was that What am I not thinking of? It might be somatic and gametic that I was just thinking of when I said body cells versus sex cells. I think somatic and autonomic, that's nervous system. That's right. Oh my God. A good thing I didn't put it on the test. I forgot it myself. How can you put it on the test if I forget it? Then again, I'm not perfect. But yeah, so somatic is things that you have bodily control over. So like right now, I'm moving my arm to make a bicep muscle. A very large bicep muscle, if I do say so myself. Autonomic is something like your heart rate changing. You don't control that. It happens automatically, so to speak. So yeah, sorry, that was somatic and autonomic. You don't have to, I don't think any of you have to know that, though, for this test. So anyway, sorry for getting off track. Here we go. Energy diagrams. It's a measure of how much energy you have, no duh. And you could see right here in this image, the reactants are lower in energy than the products. So this shows you the products have more energy. This is also an example of photosynthesis. Why? Because in photosynthesis, you make sugar. Well, you don't make it. Plants make it. Plants make sugar. Sugar has a ton of energy. So sugar is a higher energy product, has more energy than the reactants. Where does all that energy come from then? If the reactants don't have it, it can't just magically appear out of nowhere. Well, it's not magic, but it does appear kind of out of nowhere. The sun. The sun provides light, and plants are able to take that light and combine it into sugar. And that's it. That's how plants make their food. Cell respiration would be this one over here, the complete opposite, where the reactants, you actually start with sugar. The reactants have more energy than the products. Also, for these, you have to know that the top of the hill, some of you have to know, again, not everybody has this. The top of the hill is called activation energy. It's the amount of energy you need to start the reaction. And an enzyme will make this hill lower. So like if an enzyme acted on this, there'd still be an activation energy hill. It just would be lower. It'd be like down here. So that's it. Being able to identify examples of molecules. Enzymes are proteins, sugar, carb, fat, lipid, DNA, nucleic acid. Make sure you know the monomers. Monosaccharide is the monomer for a carb. Amino acid monomer. Amino acid is the monomer for protein. Nucleotide is the monomer for nucleic acid. Enzymes. Molecule that speeds up a chemical reaction. That's an enzyme. An enzyme is a protein. So what monomer would we need? Well, the monomer of a protein is amino acid. So that would be this one. So it's a very roundabout way you really got to think in order to get to your answer of that one in particular. Mitosis, basically, if you start with, basically what you do is you double up mitosis. Mitosis, you just double up whatever you have. So if you have one cell and 23 pairs of chromosomes, well, then you're going to double up. You're going to have two cells. Each of them will have 23 pairs of chromosomes, which means between the two cells total, you're going to have 46 pairs of chromosomes because you double up everything that you have in total. So you're not going to end up with two cells of 46 pairs of chromosomes. You end up with two cells that each have 23. So you double up the total number of cells. You double up the total number of chromosomes, or chromosome pairs in this case. So that's mitosis. That's all you have to know for that. You don't have to do this. We didn't do that. We're not doing that. Honors class has to know this, I think, and that's it. Just the honors, I think, for now. What's unique about stem cells? They can turn into other types of cells. Your stem cells can become nerve cells. Your stem cells can become muscle cells. Your stem cells could become skin cells. They could become any other type of cell. So that is what is unique about them. And you might also have to know medical application, those of you in the honors class as well. So you can pick whatever medical application you want, but that's up to you. I can't draw right now because I have nothing but a mere mouse. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But the enzyme, I like to draw Pac-Man shape. The enzyme has to fit. The enzyme has to have an active site and opening that's the same exact shape as the substrate. Reactant is another word for substrate. I should scroll down so you could actually see this. Okay, scroll down. Come on. So, how do I scroll down? Okay. It doesn't want to scroll down any further. So what I'm going to do is life hack this. And I'm going to copy and paste it to the top. Bam. That way I don't have to scroll up. It's going to go up to the top of the page. There we go. I don't have to worry about it. So there's the one I was looking at, enzyme. Okay. If they were in the enzyme lab, your enzyme would be catalase. Your substrate that would fit in the active site would be hydrogen peroxide. And your two products, which would be the substrate broken in half, your two products would be water and oxygen. So, yeah, your two products should basically be the reactant, the substrate, split in half. This one, you basically just have to notice that as you go up in temperature or pH, the enzyme works faster and faster. When you go too far, then it denatures and stops working altogether. And also, different enzymes have different tolerances. So like you can see, enzyme Y goes a lot further. And my TV just unpaused itself. I don't know why. I could hear it in the background. I don't know if you guys can, but I can. How does denaturing affect an enzyme? Changes its shape, so it doesn't fit with the substrate anymore. Can't bind. So it's not going to work. It's not going to do its job. So I think that's it in a nutshell. For homeostasis, body systems, the pupil pulse lab, molecules, enzymes. Make sure you study up your individual class review sheet because each of you has, different requirements. And be ready for Jeopardy next class for pretty much all of you. I think one class did Jeopardy so far. That's it. So most of you prepare for Jeopardy. That's it. I'm a little tired. I gotta run out to the supermarket. I also have to go to the glasses store because I've had glasses that are crooked for like 2 months, and I don't know why I never even just thought like, hey, let's just go to the glasses store and they'll rearrange those for me and fix it in like 2 seconds. So I'm gonna go do that right now, get food, and get my glasses fixed so that the world isn't crooked. So you guys have a good night, and I hope this helped. See ya. Also, be on the lookout. It's probably too late. You are probably clicked out, signed out by now. Maybe some of you are still watching, though. Curious, like, oh, yeah, what's going to be on the rest of the stream? Be on the lookout for my video series. It's coming up where I go over all the games that I've had that were super cheap and talk about which one was like the best value based on what I paid for it. That's coming soon. My other computer broke, the computer that I was going to stream to. So I have to kind of figure that out. I'm pretty sure it's just the graphics card, so I might have to order a new graphics card and work around that, but we'll see. I do have 2 computers, so maybe I'll just use this other one, although it's in a completely different room and I have it set up for something completely different, so I don't know. But I think it's going to be a fun little series, and I got a capture card just to do it, so I think it'll be fun. Showing some footage of some games, talking about what was great about them. And I have another idea coming up too, and I might do that one first because it might be easier to do on this other computer. So be on the lookout. Those are coming in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be starting up. So see you guys. I already did an intro video. Okay, shutting up now. Goodbye.